Hi everyone, it's Reba. It's been a while, but it feels good. Feels good to be back. A lot happened last year. I was really busy. Most visibly, I have new hair. I'm in a new apartment. A lot happened, but reading also happened. So although I didn't make very many videos, I was reading. This is one of my favorite videos to make. This is my top 10 books of 2025 video. So in this video, I'm going to talk about my favorite 10 books that I read in the past year. All of the books in my top 10 are books that I've read for the first time and that are new to me. My goal was to read 52 books last year, but I only ended up reading, I think, 47 books, which is just fine. I did read a lot of great books, so lower quantity but great quality books. And I mostly read fiction, as usual, and a handful of nonfiction and a little bit of poetry as well. I also read mostly in print, so 39 books in print and 8 audiobooks. Okay, before I get to the top 10, I want to do a few honorable mentions. Typically, my honorable mentions are books that I have read before, so rereads. And my first 2 books that I want to honorably mention are rereads. So I did read one book on audio that I had previously read before, and that was Song of Solomon by Toni Morrison. The Toni Morrison reread has started to become a bit of a tradition because last year one of my rereads was Beloved. This year was Song of Solomon, which was an excellent experience on audio. Previously, I'd read it in print, but Kat with Kat's Field Notes at some point this year had talked about how she was listening to the audio version of it read by Toni Morrison, which sounded wonderful. And so I found that version and I listened to it as well. Song of Solomon is a lush, it's dynamic, it's a vibrant text. It's about Milkman. Milkman is a young man who kind of goes on a journey of self-discovery and a journey to find the truth about his family and his family's history. And otherwise, it's Toni Morrison, so you can't go wrong, and you can trust her. I believe when Kat reviewed it, she said that the book has everything you would want in a novel, and I completely agree. It's fantastic. Next honorable mention is Birnam Wood by Eleanor Catton. This may be familiar to you because I read it last year, and it made it to my top 10 list last year, but I didn't own my own copy until this year, and so anyway, near the end of the year, I just wanted to read something fun and familiar. It's a satirical eco-thriller. Anarchist guerrilla gardening collective meets American billionaire and chaos ensues. It's great. My final honorable mention wasn't a reread. Just didn't make it my top 10 because I end up enjoying fiction or less scholarly reads, and that ends up populating my top 10. However, this book was very important to me this year, and maybe I just want you to know that I read philosophy last year, so you think I'm smart. It's definitely above my reading level and my intelligence level, so it was challenging, and I feel a lot smarter after reading it. I have been learning a little bit more about de Beauvoir last year, and I wanted to read something of hers, of like her philosophy offerings, and this is the book I chose. In this book, she poses ethical dilemmas that we encounter in our daily lives and suggests that rigidly adhering to like a set of standards or rules for ourselves doesn't make much sense when the world is chaotic and irrational. So instead, she suggests we live with an attitude of ambiguity and use a lot of critical thinking around decision making. And again, made me feel smarter, but something I probably need to continue reading and come back to. Now, let's get into my top 10. Again, these are all books I read for the first time in 2025, and I'm going to go through them in the order in which I read them. The first book is Trust by Hernan Diaz. This is a finely crafted historical fiction. It's about a 1920s Wall Street tycoon and his wife, but it's formatted in 4 different parts, so the characters are at the center of the story, but as it unfolds, each part reveals something different about the couple, and being set in 4 parts and kind of slowly giving you information and some unreliability, there is an intriguing mystery, and it's really fun to read through it and unravel it as you go along. So I found it really compelling, and just, again, like, elegant, finely crafted, strong writing, and just really enjoyable all around. Next favorite is My Work by Olga Ravn. I love this author. She's become a new favorite, and I absolutely adored this book when I read it earlier last year. I wouldn't say it's a book for everybody, but it was a perfect book for me. It's not a straightforward novel. It's more of a collage of poetry and journal entries and narrative. All of those elements create a portrait of this woman who has just become a new mother. I'm not a new mom, but I related to the woman in this book a lot, so much so that I was really shocked by some of the dialogues in her therapy sessions, because I had felt that some of the things that she talked about I have said. I felt a little bit of an anxiety kinship with her. For me, the experimentation in the narrative worked really well. I actually felt that it worked in favor of the character development, because you kind of got to see her journal entries, and sometimes they were just lists of things. You got to see sometimes the poetry just felt, I don't know, really expressive and almost deeper than a narrative, complete narrative form would be able to reach. And there's also references. I don't know, I feel that, yeah, it just created a great picture of a woman dealing with all these new emotions and fears in this big life change. And again, although I'm not going through the same thing, there was so much that resonated with me just as a woman, looking around at myself and how I interact with the world, the things that I do, trying to figure out what's most important in life. I found it really moving. I don't know. It really, really worked for me. But again, the nature of it might not work for everybody. But she's quickly becoming one of my favorite authors. I'll pick up anything she's written. I read another novel of hers in October called The Wax Child. And then a few years ago, I read The Employees, and that made it to my top 10 list. So she's a favorite. I'm always intrigued by the topics she chooses to write about, and I like how she thinks and how she explores ideas. She has this esoteric, deep-feeling way of thinking through things. I've found that at the core of all of her books, there's this rich humanness and an expression of what it's like to be human, even though, like, some of her characters aren't literally human, but she does such a good job of displaying, like, the range of emotions from really tender to enraged and passionate. Yeah. I'm excited to see what else gets translated from her. Oh, this is translated. I should say, from Danish. And it looks like there's 2 different translations, Sophia Hersi Smith and Jennifer Russell. Yeah. Alphabetical Diaries. This is a fun concept book. Sheila Heti is pretty popular, so I'm assuming a lot of people already know about this book. But if you don't, this was pulled together from her journals over, I think, about 10 years' time. She took all of the sentences from her journals, and then she put them in a spreadsheet and then organized them in alphabetical order, and from there edited that down into what became this book. So fun concept, and I was really curious to see how it would play out, and I ended up really, really enjoying it. I would say this is a really whimsical read if that's something you're trying to have more of in your life. There was just something really fun about how the sentences out of order or in a new order played with each other, and this book also made me want to start journaling again. So fun and inspiring. An Apprenticeship, or The Book of Pleasures by Clarice Lispector. I found this to be one of the most empowering books I've read in a while. On the surface, this is a book about a woman building a relationship with a man, but more importantly, she's getting to know herself, and in the process, by doing so, she starts to really come to love herself and start to truly live. In my review, I said that this is a book for those who sometimes forget how wonderful they are. And if that's you, I highly recommend it. Yeah, I really loved it. And again, it was just empowering for me. Sophie from Bibliosophie, she ran a book club for this book on her Substack last year, and it was really great to read it alongside that. The next book I listened to on audio, and that was They Can't Kill Us Until They Kill Us by Hanif Abdurraqib. And the audio version I listened to was read by the author. I believe it was Nathan from Nathan's Nook who maybe tipped me off to the fact that it was on Spotify. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, the book is a series of essays about music through a critical lens of culture, race, class, and also the author's own personal experience and coming of age in the U.S. I do like that kind of narrative nonfiction essay cultural criticism, so I enjoyed it. I love music, and it was interesting to hear him talk through different bands and music artists and his relationship to them, and there was so many interesting reflections he was able to make in those essays. His writing voice is wise and commanding with a poet's articulation, and so lovely to listen to, especially in his voice. He has a great reading voice as well, so I'd say just a really profound and moving collection, and yeah, I would love to read more of him. Next is The Master and Margarita by Mikhail Bulgakov. Translated by Mirra Ginsburg, the version I have, which I think I just got this in a little free library or off the street years ago, and finally read it. This is a Russian classic, so I was intimidated at first to pick it up, but then I ended up really, really enjoying it and having a lot of fun with it. This is a satirical, magical, absurd story. It features the devil in 1930s Moscow, who's like stirring up all this chaos. It's also interwoven with scenes that take place in ancient Jerusalem that feature Pontius Pilate around like the days of Christ's crucifixion. It's fantastical, it's otherworldly, but it speaks to Bulgakov's experience under Stalin's Russia. it's just fun, despite all the heaviness. Yeah, it's just a great read. And although I found it intimidating, it was like ended up being really readable. So, a great classic. Recommend. Next is Notes from an Island. This is by Tove Jannson, and she is another favorite author of mine. I'm slowly making my way through all of her books. This particular book is a collection of Jansson's writing about an island that she and her partner Tuulikki spent their summers on. So they owned this island, and for about like 25, 26 years, every summer they would go there. And she kept journals and wrote about it, and those got all that writing got collected alongside Tuulikki's watercolors. So here's a good, yeah. And then besides that, there are also some log entries included in here from this like local seaman called Brunstrom or something. I believe that's his name. He's like, yeah, this local seaman that became their friend because he helped like make their island livable. And so there's just some funny little like log entries from him that are pretty brusque and informational, but there's some like little sweet notes that he left as well. And then her writing about nature and landscapes and solitude and just like the thoughts and feelings that being out on that island evoked just are so beautifully written about in this book. I like her use of language. The language is pretty spare and straightforward, but she always manages to find like little beautiful moments and expresses them really well. So I really loved this book. I think it's great nature writing, and it's just a really thoughtful, lovely, quick read, great little summer read, and it will make you want to have your own summer island. Next is The Rings of Saturn by W.G. Sebald. And this is also translated. This is translated from the German by Michael Hulse. This beautiful book I got a while ago and finally read it. It was not easy. This was a difficult read, but for me it was totally worth it. The boring description of this book is that it is a series of notes compiled by Sebald as he took a walking tour down the eastern coast of England. But it doesn't feel like reading notes. It feels like this kind of sweeping, dreamy, meandering collection of tangents and all these like weaving thoughts that he had. Somehow they all connect together in this really cosmically beautiful way. He writes about people and the landscapes he's seeing with all of this historical context, and he has this really detailed precision in the way he writes, as well as a kind of omnipotent wisdom, I would say. Another way I would describe this is like reading a diary from like an ancient roaming wizard. I don't know. It's not that it's like fantasy, but it's this, the way he like speaks, he's just kind of this like wizened observer, and it's melancholy but also just super enchanting and really beautiful. So it's weird. Again, I don't know if this is a book for everyone, but I really liked it, and yeah, I think there's a few people watching that this will be intriguing. And then I have The God of Small Things by Arundhati Roy. This book broke my heart into pieces. It's well loved, it's hyped, and I think it deserves all of the love and the hype. It was so good. This was really incredible, but again, it was heartbreaking. It's a story about a family against the backdrop of the caste system in India. Everything changes in a day for this family, and after the event, the repercussions on each of the members are almost unbearable, hence the heartbreaking nature of this. But it is told with gorgeous writing and really rich characters, so you're so taken and endeared to each of them that it hurts all the more when everything plays out. I was really impressed because I do believe this is a debut novel. It's a really impressive first novel. Roy's command of language is really beautiful, so if you like decadent, descriptive, really lush language, you'll enjoy this. I would say, yeah, it's again a rich family story, so if you enjoy that, I would enter this book cautiously. It is hard to read, and I would also extend a trigger warning for essay involving a child, and so there's just like a lot. It's heavy and it's hard and it's difficult and it's heartbreaking, but if you do pick this up, handle with care, and but I'm sure you'll love it. It was really, really incredible. Final book on my list of favorites was Peach Blossom Paradise by Goa Fei. This is translated by Kanan Morse. I would describe this as mythical realism. The story starts during China's 100-day reform and unfolds in this saga that explores the cost of trying to build a utopia. It's a dark and a violent book, trigger warnings for sexual violence specifically, but there's truly some beautiful, illuminating, like sparkling moments in the book, despite the heaviness. This is one I picked up in December, so I read it recently, and I haven't been able to stop thinking about it. I loved how the whole story came together from beginning to end. It takes place over time, and there is a community of characters that grow up within the story. They're all magnetic, and the storytelling and the writing style I really adored. It's very immersive. Faye builds the world and it feels very real. Again, I'd say there's like a mythic element to it, so there's a groundedness in the historical context, but there is some mysticism to it that I find really interesting, almost fairy tale-esque, but yeah, again, grounded in reality. Picked it up in a little free library years ago. It's been sitting on my shelf. I've been trying to read books I've already owned, especially at the end of the year, so picked this one up just to get through some of my own books, and I was really surprised at how much I loved it, because I hadn't heard anything about it before, and I don't know if I would have picked it up otherwise had I not stumbled across it. Those are my favorite books from 2025. As for my reading goals for 2026, I still am going to try to hit 52 books this year, although that number is proving to be difficult for me to hit. I think it's good to try to challenge myself to read a little bit more than I think I can. And yeah, aim for the moon, land in the stars kind of thing. I am feeling really invigorated and excited for this new year. I want to make some more videos for sure. I'm feeling a lot more ambitious about making Reba Reads content this year. So look out for more of that. Stay tuned. I will be making another one of these videos, like a Reba Wrapped, but with books and podcasts and shows, favorites from last year. So that'll probably be the next video that comes out, but I have some others I'm planning as well. Otherwise, follow me on Instagram and Goodreads for all my book reviews. I post on Instagram monthly. I post on Goodreads whenever I feel like it. And that's it. I wish everyone a happy new year and happy reading. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.